Hi, everybody. This is 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗲 along with Gene Gearing from Lean42, and you're watching or listening to Lean42 live at LinkedIn or potentially a recording at our Lean Academy or somewhere else. Today, we do have a special guest with us here in the middle, Svetoslav Stamenov, coming in here from Bulgaria. And we are discussing topics at these LinkedIn Live sessions for CIOs, digital leaders, enterprise architects, and really help bridge gaps or bring business strategy and IT execution together. And we're really doing more informal discussions, so you will not see slides today here in any capacity, but it's really about learning, about growing, about what challenges we see different leaders face today, what's coming in the future, and also some suggestions on how to overcome some of the hurdles and the challenges. And Gene and I were CIO advisors in Europe and North America. And today we're very happy to have Svetoslav with us. Svetoslav, do you want to give a quick introduction into yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Karsten and Gene. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully you can see and hear me quite well, I guess. Yeah. So thanks for the invitation, the opportunity to, first of all, present our Nearshore IT Center, Varna, but also to speak about the opportunities and how together we can basically go further and develop, help to grow our, let's say, companies and units. Yeah, that's shortly from my side.
Okay, excellent. So why, I know, or maybe tell us a little bit more first about also your company and what you're doing, because we see kind of like a more global approach to IT delivery. I think if you look at kind of like outsourcing or offshoring, nearshoring, all these activities going on for 20 plus years now in our industry. But with that, a lot of people are kind of like had experience, some of them had bad experience. So tell us a little bit about what your company does and what you see kind of like as a current challenge or a current hurdle.
Yeah, of course, sure. Maybe a few words about me, even though maybe if I share something from my students' years, once one of our professors went into our classes and then started to explain about himself for 90 minutes. And we were asking ourselves, oh, what's this? When he will stop? It's quite a narcissistic, let's say, approach here. But obviously, so I think that we don't know, at least some of the joiners here, the attendees will not know me. I spent a couple of years in one of the biggest energy companies within E.ON. Before that, I have also experience in some technology companies. And finally, being back from Germany, in Bulgaria, we decided to establish our own company here, and benefiting also from the network that we basically built for the last couple of years. Yeah. Especially also with the experience that we had in the enterprise architecture, the portfolio and project management, but also delivering services from, let's say, close location to Europe. Yeah, so this was our first step and our main goal, and this is how we basically started, first with some consultancy in the mentioned areas, but afterwards, actually already 2 years, we established our Nearshore center, where we basically deliver technology and software development, supporting, how we do it. Normally, we, of course, first of all, meet together either online or offsite or face-to-face with the potential customer and see the needs. And then afterwards, based on the requirements, we are building and ramming up here dedicated teams. When I'm saying dedicated teams, this means that the teams or the team works, let's say, 100% for the respective customer. And so we are quite flexible on our side, as basically the competition, as you mentioned, this business model is here since 15, 20 years. But also, I do believe that the people who are here on the call here, they remember that there are some up and downs, yeah? So, and depending on which area and which industry you are, this year you are outsourcing, next year you are insourcing, so there are quite a lot of fluctuations here. And I see that there are a lot of opportunities in this branch. Therefore, we stepped in and now try to develop the company as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right when you mention kind of like the changes and the flexibility, and I think that's one of the main issue or challenges that I've seen, like especially over the last 2 years increasingly. Like the world has become more volatile and more uncertain than ever before, and like we've seen the Russian war against Ukraine, and now so like Hamas and Israel, and so it's kind of like a lot of turmoil in like different parts of the world. Also economy, like impact on energy markets, on so many other parts. And the ability for organizations to respond to that and the ability to navigate those more unstable waters, so to say, is I think something where a outsourcing, be it near or far shore, is of course something that can help with some of that, where you say, okay, I'm not building my own team here, or I like move something to a more flexible engagement. Is that something that resonates with the discussions you have with your networks, Gene, Svetoslav? Is that something where you've seen also an uptick in requests because people want to do a more flexible route?
Yeah, right. Basically, you formulated very well, because we are witnessing a lot of challenges. Let's put it like this. Even in my experience, I also had some, let's say, bad experience with, let's say, the war, because at some point of time we were about to build a dedicated team for a customer, which was his will was to basically make the bridge between, let's say, the Western Europe, Bulgaria, and then eastern part of Russia. But with the war, this fell into the garbage. But I see also an opportunity in this direction, because when you're saying volatility, the business, especially the small and medium, but also the big corporations, they are not quite sure about the next steps, and probably there is a lot of risk. And such a nearshore services, basically we are taking the risk in many of the cases on ourselves. Which means that if we have a customer who comes to us and say we need this and that services for a longer period or for a shorter period, we can ramp up teams, and depending on our productivity, efficiency, the skills that we have, we might be basically stopped at some point of time. And this is a risk for us. But if we are good and then do our best, then we'll continue, and actually we'll exactly fill this gap in terms of, let's say, mitigating the risk of this volatility which you mentioned. At least this is what I see. We should not hide. The life is going, and we have to see how we shall adapt in this direction, and what we can offer in order to support our potential customers, but not only potential, but also current one, to overcome this.
True. Gene, What's your kind of like experience with kind of like outsourcing, nearshoring, any kind of like special challenges you see? And before you talk on this, just a short note also to our audience out there. If you do have questions, and if you look at this that is broadcasted live at LinkedIn, you can also ask questions in the comment section, and then we can we will actually be able to answer them here as well. So just a short intro here for everybody on that. But Jean, tell us a little bit about your experiences.
So I've used offshore in the US several times in companies, but it always comes down to 4 areas where I see the challenges. It's first of all requirements. So making sure requirements, and I'm sure that area has matured a lot. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. Budget constraints almost always will drive offshore or nearshore. Communication preferences, and then there's always the desired oversight and controls. So I think those are the 4 areas when I literally go shopping for offsite or nearshore, or the companies I'm working with or consulting to. Those seem to be the 4. So requirements. How do you? I mean, you guys speak really good English. In the U.S., we're all English. So how do you do requirements? What do you have? Certain templates? I know you do probably face-to-face like this, or how do you capture requirements?
Yep. Okay, Jane, thanks for here also the questions from your side. And I can also add to your, let's say, challenges.
Okay, good.
Also the technologies, because if we look from this angle, if you want to choose a partner, a nearshore partner, this is exactly the thing that you should look at. Not only the requirements, of course, you should be able to push your requirements. Definitely, you have to share your budget constraints if you have such. Hopefully, the companies do not have, but obviously this is not the truth. And of course, the communication, you should be always looking in the proper language, the channels that you use, how you control this, but also the technologies. Basically, you have to identify really what kind of technologies you are searching, and whether the nearshore partner actually have the necessary skills, proven one, in order to fulfill your requirements, and afterwards to develop whatever you require. Yeah. So, but going back to your question, first of all, the requirements. So of course, I already mentioned that we are meeting in most of the cases online, but also in due to the fact that we are nearshore and we are focused most on the European market. Basically, this is one of the benefits here, that we can take the plane or the train, doesn't matter, go and meet the respective customer. Templates. We now with let's say internet, we have a lot of possibilities, but we have our own, of course, and depending on really whether we will jump into any agile Scrum development, or we will follow the old stylish waterfall, or we'll mix both. Not recommended, but still this is probably something that always happens. I'm not that, let's say, focused on and kind of orthodox. Yeah, you should do agile, or no, it's better waterfall. So we do it in the discussions. But yeah, so we cut the story shorter. Yes. We put a special, let's say, focus on this, because afterwards our suggestion and addressing and reflecting whatever we will offer and go together and grow together with the customer depends on these first steps. Tell me if I'm speaking too much
all good.
here.
No. And then,
but I'm into the topic, I'm into the topic, yeah.
Of course.
Well,
that's what we have here, because you're like an expert, and
yeah.
I know you, like when you were on the other side, you also worked with a distributed team or across all of Europe. So you know how it is to also be on the other side. So we do have our first question that came in here. Yep. So why nearshore instead of offshore? What do you see kind of like as from your experience there?
Yeah, first of all, hi Kalo or Kalyan is we basically graduated together math school in Bulgaria, but went to the different direction with Kalyan here. And now I see that he's back into IT, if I'm not wrong. But okay, why nearshore and why not offshore? So depends, Kalyan, at least on our location, Varna. Yeah, so we are here and proud to be Bulgarians, and therefore we try to develop our nearshore area, and we are focusing now on really the European market due to the fact that we can bring these benefits. I mean, close distance, being able to react fast, also speaking some of the languages here in Europe. Of course, we use mostly English, but also being able to react from time perspective before or after, let's say, the normal working hours. Yeah. So the comparisons of both on nearshore and offshore, they are focused really on delivering services, and you can benefit. By the way, now Jean is now in the East Coast. And if she would like to use offshore, basically, and she has, let's say, a super duper company which needs 24/7 support, of course, maybe we can now sign a contract and we can work in the night hours. Let's say her night hours. For us, it will be more or less day hours, and we can cover this. From this perspective, this will be offshore for us. Yeah, and this could be the benefit for Jean. Yeah. But also another perspective from nearshore. When I'm saying nearshore, now looking in Varna, in Bulgaria, we can be also a bridge between, let's say, the really offshore distances like India, like China, as well, between the big market, so US, because I've, in my experience, always trying to make this gap or map the hours in India with the hours on the west coast and east coast, and being man in the middle. So this is shortly about why nearshore, Kalyan. If you are not satisfied with the answer, put it in the chat, and I will try to address other topics.
I would also add scalability. I think that is key. It's not only, that you're the middleman, but it's also about scalability.
You're right, Jean. Scalability. And this is one of the benefits, by the way, because now if we take one small company, small or medium-sized company, which would like to basically scale and grow, we also put a title for this session, Grow Together and Globally with Nearshoring. And this is exactly the focus, because for the big companies, for the big corporations, this is probably not a big deal, to scale up here and there, because they have the resources. They could probably ramp up a team in China and in India and whatever. Pretty quick, but for the small and medium-sized companies, maybe they don't have enough resources, they don't have enough knowledge, they're not oriented also in which technology, they don't have the experience. And this is where we are jumping in, and we can fill this gap, also suggest some opportunities, scale, as you mentioned, so hopefully quickly. Of course, nowadays with hiring people is everywhere. We have a lack of resources due to the growth in the IT and technology areas. But this is one of the benefits that all the companies, especially the smaller one, could benefit. Yeah?
Well, because
and
they don't
and grow,
yeah.
being international.
Most small to medium companies that I speak with, they have, like you said, they don't have access to a talent pool that or can scale.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it was on my side, but I lost a bit, Gene. Yeah.
But I think to bring in another point here is the nearshoring for me always was also something that makes it easier from like a time difference perspective, because it's kind of like you have more overlap, because like we work together a lot, like also in a nearshoring capacity, Svetoslav and I. So it's something that always was with like his team you have a huge overlap of like working hours. It was like, as Svetoslav mentioned, easy to like travel back and forth and like say, hey, can you come in for like a session? And it's not like that it needs a lot of like planning ahead, etc. It can be like, hey, can you come next week on Tuesday to Munich or Frankfurt or Berlin or whatever it is? And yeah, there are like multiple flights or train and etc. options. So it's something that is like easily organizable. And also, there's two other main aspects that made it very easy. One is kind of like the EU and kind of like operating like in a legally common market, so to say. So it's not something where you had to worry about, okay, I'm like now getting exposed in like a legal system that is completely different or something like that. But we're like in a common market of the EU. Which made it like tax-wise, like so many little things that just make it so much easier. And also, it is something where you have a cultural, like it's like, of course there are differences between like all the countries in Europe, but it still is not that big of a difference. So you can still like work and know what you talk about and how to approach things, and very, very open and good communication channels, where I think some of the things that also Gene mentioned with like the requirements and other things are less than what I've seen with like far shore or really offshore outsourcing, where it required more formal handovers and more formal approaches to the contract and to the engagement, versus with the nearshoring, it feels a little bit more like your own team, or I think you mentioned it like your extended team or dedicated extended team. So it is really something where you're a little bit more involved and a little bit closer to what's happening there.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned a couple of things here, and at some point of time you mentioned little things. Actually, with the regulatory and especially the EU topics, maybe also the compliance to the legislation is something that it should pay attention. And this is again one of the benefits here, that we are working one environment.
Data protection is like
exactly
a very big one for European organizations, and where the outsourcing to other countries or areas of the world makes it much harder.
Yeah, I've filled that, some tons of templates saying where I'm storing the data and how I protect and etc. So this is something that we should not, of course, neglect. And this is actually one of our key how to say, things that we look when we are discussing with and engaging with our customers.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if
it's also some. Sorry, Gene, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you do ChatGPT, they list 4 challenges for outsource or nearshore. One was time zones, the other one was language, cultural differences, and data security. Yeah. And I know that there is a lot of, I think Europe is way ahead in protection of data than the U.S. is, but U.S. banks, I know, and other countries that have to deal in finance they're gearing up in that area. But I do know that the security of data is just huge over here in the U.S.
Yeah, you mentioned two things that maybe I can catch here, and I can continue about the cultural differences, which was mentioned from Karsten, and then ChatGPT. So maybe if I start with the cultural differences, you're right. I've worked with, let's say almost teams from almost whole Europe, also from US, also from India, from Vietnam. So maybe before 20 years, probably this has been a big challenge. Now it's still probably an issue sometimes, but with the globalization and with the teams being exposed, especially with experienced teams, I mean, which are working globally, internationally. So this difference is probably more and more melting. Of course, it remains, and you have to pay attention about different religious bank holidays, and also understanding whether you can work outside of the working hours or provide some support outside of your contract, etc. But ChatGPT, something that now we see for the last 2 years, and of course before that with machine learning and all the artificial intelligence that is now probably as a wave coming.
Yeah.
I see again as an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity because even before 100 years, if you read Keynes, for example, the people there have been at this point of time, they were scared about, let's say, the industrialization, and they were even, let's say, smashing some of the machines there, being afraid that the machines will take their workplaces and etc. And this actually happens in many cases. But what we saw in the last 100 years is that due to the industrialization, the standard grew and now continue to grow. I think that this will be also the case with artificial intelligence, and we should not be that afraid, of course, with the necessary regulations. And we already are using and benefiting from the support from whichever tool, because it's not only ChatGPT. We can name here probably another 50,
3 or 4, yeah, easily.
Yeah, so that we can use in our daily work, which will actually grow, not grow, but will help to have a better efficiency. Respectively, we will give this to our customers. So if there are potential customers here, listen, and afterwards come to us. Yeah, that's shortly.
Well, but you guys have addressed all the challenges that ChatGPT just listed, so check mark.
No, but I was expecting such a question because you know, there are in whichever think tanks you read or gurus speak in this, or even with the colleagues from the IT branch here. They're really thinking that it's everything will be changed in the next. It's already changing, and but we have really to understand what and how and benefit from it. So we should not hide and be scared. I believe in the humanity, yeah, in the world.
Of course,
yeah,
well, we all do.
And technology.
And technology, of course, yeah. By the way, ITR management consult comes from IT revolution, yeah. So you see that I really truly believe in the technologies, and that the benefits, and how we can basically stepping on technologies, we can change our environment. That's
very nice. So to wrap this up a bit here, what is some final advice that you can give somebody who's looking for outsourcing in general, like what to look out for, what are kind of like steps to take, or?
Well, first of all, I will basically give the advice to come to Bulgaria and Varna, of course, and to engage with Nearshore IT Service Center Varna. Due to the fact, maybe a few words about us as a destination, because for the last 10 years, for example, Bulgarian IT sector each year grew the income with something in between 20 to 25%. So it's let's say a big growth, and it's by the way one of the key tasks and goals for the IT sector in general for Bulgaria to become the first contributor to the domestic to GDP. But this is also based on historical things, because in the 80s we were on the third place of producing hardware, due to the fact that we were the one providing this to our East Bloc. Also, we had some space programs, and now we continue with this. So it's quite a good place to be. And of course, despite the fact that we are here near to the beach. But now, seriously,
Beach is always a plus.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
When you would like to find a nearshore partner, just make a thorough research exactly on the topics that we have now mentioned: cost, budget, technologies that the respective partner, nearshore partner, could provide, whether this is proven. Also the languages that can be spoken within the team, SLAs that are suggested from the nearshore partner, the teams that can be, and how quick can be ramped up in this sense, so that actually you can be fast in your time to market, because this makes sense. If the nearshore team or company doesn't have, let's say, enough capacity in terms of now a dedicated team, which can be now assigned to you directly, immediately, then it will need some lead time, and you should check what is this lead time: 1 month, 6 months. Yeah, so there are many aspects, but I think that these are the major one. And Eugene and Karsten, you mentioned already some of these as well.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you so much, Svetoslav. Just also for the audience, if you like this, or if you want to see more different ones, we had a bunch of other interesting people already here talking about business architecture, strategy, IT service management. So we had lots of different talks already in this sharing, growing the community aspect of LinkedIn Lives. All of those are available at our Lean42 Academy. So you can go to lean42.academy to just join for free, see previous recordings of many interesting talks. If you do have questions, feel free to post them here. I'm sure Svetoslav will be also able to reach out to you or respond to those questions on the comment section here. And then
in 2 weeks, we'll have another presentation.
If you want to know more about what to do with nearshoring, offshoring, all of those aspects, and see some slides, and get more content and a deeper dive into the topic, there will be a comment on this that will guide you to the registration for that. Or if you see the recording, there might be also a link directly to the recording for the webinar.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you from my side, and see you.
Okay.
In the next round.
I'll talk to you later again. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank
See
you
guys.
Thanks for the